Everyone, welcome back to Sports Kabri, Curious Harry and Arun Foot. I'm Rahul, with me are Hiren and Anava. And yeah, we've got a few things to talk about today, but let's get the ISL game out of the way first. Punjab beating Hyderabad 2-0. It looked pretty comprehensive in the end, of course. The overwhelming sort of foreign talent that Punjab has really shown today. It was Mehdi Talal and Luka Machin who got on the score sheet. The second one was, I think, probably the goal of the season. Although we've seen some brilliant goals from outside the box, the turn, I mean, the touch and the turn and the shot was just beautiful. I mean, we'll get to discussing goal of the season a little later, but let's just discuss the game first. Ian, what do you make of it?
As expected, I think पंजाब एफसी वर दी स्ट्रॉन्गर साइड एंड कल भी हमने प्रीव्यू में भी बात की थी कि उसकी जो ट्रायो है दे आर दी डेडलीस्ट करंटली एंड दे आर इन अ ग्रेट फॉर्म पर्टिकुलरली मेहदी तला आई थिंक इस तरह से जेरेमी मंजारो की बात होती है जमशेदपुर के लिए आई थिंक उसी तरह से मेहदी तला आई थिंक ही हैज क्रिएटेड द हाईएस्ट चांसेस all over the ISL this season. So that shows his ability. And जिस तरह से आपने बोला कि सेकंड गोल मारा, brilliant goal to see. फर्स्ट गोल में भी आई थिंक हैदराबाद की अगर मैं बोलूँ सच में तो आई थिंक आज थोड़े से ऑफ लगे आई थिंक जो पिछले कुछ मैच से हाई इंटेंसिटी के साथ वो खेलते आ रहे थे आज थोड़े से प्लेयर वो मेरे को मतलब वो इंटेंट वाइज उतना ज्यादा वो नहीं दे पाए एंड आई थिंक वो दिखे एंड वो क्लियरली विजिबल भी था अगर आप दोनों गोल जिस तरह से उन्होंने कंसीड भी किया पर्टिकुलरली द फर्स्ट गोल कि आप अगर दोनों स्ट्राइकर को इतना स्पेस दे दोगे यहाँ पे हेडर के लिए then eventually you are going to concede a goal simple as that but interesting is because Punjab FC is also back into the sixth position race एंड आई थिंक उन्होंने भी राइट टाइम पे मोमेंटम पकड़ा है सेकंड हाफ में जैसे जमशेदपुर ने मोमेंटम पकड़ा है एंड it is a good sign for the sixth position race कि there are 5-6 teams are fighting for it but overall it's Punjab FC's game no doubt about that.
Another, again, it was Mehdi Talal who provided the first one for Luka Machin. It looked like it was going out, but then he digs out probably the perfect cross from that sort of area for Luka Machin at the far post. And then, of course, the big striker does his job. But do we have to come to a point where we start discussing Mehdi Talal for being probably the player of the season? Because let's also sort of remind ourselves that he's playing in a Punjab team that have come up from the I League and they're not an ISL team, but still it seems like his numbers are good. He dominates games, he controls games in midfield, and he's got the goals and assists.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, good evening, everyone, and good evening, Hiren and Rahul as well. I think Mehdi Talal is one of those finds of the season, signings of the seasons, and it's very interesting to see, with the kind of players we have, when we talk about Mehdi Talal or we talk about Jeremy Manzovo, we talk about these French players of the Zidane mold, that kind of thing, with Talal at least with North African heritage as well, with the combine and that, the Spaniards are a little different in their football. With those strikers from Eastern Europe who have done good in the league over the years. Luka Machin being someone, of course, who was rated as an I League striker, but I remember I had a conversation. I mean, he will not remember, but probably I had a conversation on the sidelines of the I League 2 years ago in the bubble once, and I said, "Why don't you play ISL?" He said, "I hope I would play it in the future," and now he's playing it, and he deserves to be there. I mean, he's that good a striker. Uh, for me on that side, and Wilmer Jordan being another addition, to this thing, and Punjab FC was one of the deadliest trios up front at the moment. They needed some time to settle. I think the whole team, the club needed time to settle down to the ISL. The pace is higher. The whole thing is a little different than what you're used to in the I League, and they made some changes. They kept the core of the team from the I League, but you realize that again, Juan Mera was your key playmaker in the I League, but you made an upgrade and brought in Mehdi Talal, right? In other positions, you've also done it. The only position where I think that they need to strengthen, if they can, would be the goalkeeper. I think bring in a better Indian goalkeeper. And if you can do that, you will most probably stay in the race for top six, if not till the last day, maybe in the last two rounds or something of the sorts, depending on how you can get your results. I think that's the that's the interesting part. As someone, you know, that's going to be the interesting part, because they for a team to come up from the I League, and I said that at the start of the season, that they didn't look bad, but they have had one thing which I felt is smart buyings. You know, they brought in some bigger names, but they brought in players who they knew were good performers because they played against them in the I League. And that combination, a good bunch, the foreigners are the deciding factor. Let's be honest about this in the league. If your 4 foreigners are good and you can build a team around those 4 foreigners, you're sorted. If you can do that, you can be in the running for the top 6.
Yep. Sharad saying Rabi had a disappointing game today. I mean, been one of the shining lights for Hyderabad. Yeah, Hiren, again with Hyderabad, where do they go from here? Because it's really it's not happening for them.
I think now they just you can say it's for a youngster to get experience and this crucial game time in this ISL, because next season I think most probably the situation improving. Most of them are leave for different clubs, and we don't know will they get the same amount of game time there or not. Most probably not. I think so. Some of them might get, but I think not all of that. So I think it's just for them to experience these are the things, and I think. कहीं ना कहीं ये परफॉर्मेंस एक्सपेक्टेड भी था, क्योंकि पिछले अगर 2-3 मैच देखे जिस तरह से उन्होंने परफॉर्मेंस दी है, भले चाहे रिजल्ट उनके फेवर में नहीं आया हो, बट उन्होंने टो टू टो फाइट दी है। ऐसा भी कहीं पे नहीं रहा कि कंप्लीटली दे हैव बीन आउट क्लास। बट आज आई थिंक कहीं ना कहीं वो थोड़ा सा अब जो भी टायर्डनेस, अब जो भी बोल लिया उसका थकान, जो भी बोले आज वो आई थिंक प्लेयरों में दिख रही थी, मेंटली भी दिख रहा था। इट्स नॉट ओनली अबाउट दी यू कैन से फटीग ऑन द फिजिकलिटी वाइज। आई थिंक मेंटली भी प्लेयर थोड़े से स्विच ऑफ लग रहे थे कंपेयर टू अगर आप पिछले 2-3 मैचों की उनकी केवल इंटेंसिटी या फिर जो उनकी अंडरस्टैंडिंग अगर आप देखें तो आई थिंक fair enough to them. Well, playing with all the Indians youngster, I think you can't expect too much things. They will continuously perform similar things. So I think just for them, I think it's an experience. They'll learn a lot of things from this kind of matches also. So I think that's good for them.
And Hyderabad officially out of the playoffs. 5 games to go. They've got 4 points. Yeah, they are out, pretty much out, because 5 wins will still get them to 19. So yeah, that's pretty much that.
I mean, just to add to what Hiren said, I think to lose to BFC late in that game, I think that is the knockout punch for these boys. They've done well for 3-4 matches, and they've tried to do everything. I think the coach has also tried a lot of things, has given these players as much as he could. I think Thangboy has done a very, very good job with this young set of boys. But at some stage, you come to the upper barrier of what you can try and achieve. I think that's the problem. If people say Abdul Rabi is off, or this player is off, or that player is off, these guys have been trying to perform so far, either all season or since they've been given a chance. They are playing with an inferior team against superior opponent. You know, for me, that is, I think, the biggest challenge for Hyderabad is to keep that momentum up. You know, and I've always said that I feel they need, again, if they could get a dirty 1-0 win, that will change the psychology. But today you saw even a Punjab FC now is so experienced in the I League, or the foreigners are so experienced because they've got that experience of playing around the world, and now also have the ISL experience. So therefore, to me, again, the experience that they're getting great, but it's going to be difficult to get a result. I'd said, you know, the first 3-4 matches, if they can get a win, you know, they might get 2 or 3 over the season. But now it's going to get more and more difficult. The more matches they're playing, that to see them winning a match this season looks tough for me. And yeah, and it's just finishing the season with some sort of respect, some sort of pride, with all that's happening around the team and the club.
Yeah, absolutely. And Hiren, on Punjab, you think they can carry on from here and really make a good challenge for top 6? Because they play Mumbai next, and it's not going to be easy, and then they go away to Northeast.
I think definitely they are in a great form, but it's not going to be easy. And particularly side like Mumbai and any other top five side they are facing in upcoming time. I think will be difficult for them to produce a result. But I think they have now momentum, so that's the interesting part, and they can surprise anyone. With the particularly that front three, I think they can produce a individual brilliance moment. चाहे टीम भले ही स्ट्रगल कर रही हो पूरे मैच में, but these are the player ki they can produce a moment like that जो मेहंदी तला ने आज का भी गोल देख लिया. That's the very rare thing you see with the foreigners also in you can say ISL. So I think that kind of moment can give you them some of the might be I would say draw, not if they not get a 3 point, maybe they get a draw against the you can say top side. So they will remain in the rest, but they need to be you can say uh, top in their form. Otherwise, तो मुश्किल है. But I think still they will definitely go. I think 14th of March, इसलिए मैंने पहले भी बोला था कल या परसों भी कि 14th of March को आपको ज्यादा पिक्चर मेरे हिसाब से क्लियर हो जाएगी, क्योंकि उसके बाद आई थिंक सभी टीम्स के 3 to 4 मैचेस लेफ्ट होंगे. आपका कहीं ना कहीं तो 4-5 पॉइंट का गेम बन जाएगा. सो यू विल गेट आइडिया कि नाउ देयर आर चांसेस कि ये टीम बाहर हो गई है और ये टीम यहाँ पे आगे जा सकती है. But I think क्या बोलते हैं Punjab FC will definitely will be in a race for a couple of matches.
Will be interesting. Of course, they are heavily reliant on the foreigners. That front three will Jordan, Luka Marchan, and Mehdi Dalal. And now moving on to sort of the news of the day, which is Spygate.
Just to
As
just to answer on Vidya
oh
Sagar,
yeah,
if Vidya Sagar joins Punjab FC and you've got two firing foreign strikers, and you have even Daniel Nalimpuya in front of you, it's going to be difficult, right? So therefore, what I said with other players as well, if you're a striker, either you try and play on the wings, you might get a chance. If you're trying to be a central striker, you have to be wise in which club you join to play. And Vidya Sagar was at BFC, difficult. At the Blasters, same difficulty. Now he's facing the same problem at Punjab FC. So for an Indian striker, I think it's very, very crucial that when you decide to switch clubs, again, yes, you have to look after the money. I understand that. It's sure. But you have to be wise and realize could I get a chance to play? I think that's very, very important. In the worst case, maybe take the step and go down to the I League and play for one of the top I League teams. Maybe if they have a chance for a position for Indian striker. It's like Daniel who is playing at Mohammedan Sporting, right? Where I'm hearing, I know East Bengal have said multiple. There've been links of him with East Bengal multiple times over the last 8-9 months. That the player at the moment is thinking of potentially staying with Mohammedan Sporting, even if they go up to the ISL, because he knows the surrounding, he can play. So that is a difficult one, I think, for players. I understand that sometimes, right? This is career choice. Is it who is advising you at the clubs and saying, listen, this is my pathway for you. The agent needs to have a pathway for the player. How are you going to progress? Because otherwise, these players will fizzle out at some stage.
yep. So I know, and now Spygate, as they're calling it, Hiren. Where do we stand? What's the situation like? FC Goa. The reports that FC Goa have complained over um, people recording videos from their training sessions. So yeah, where do we stand? What do you know about the situation?
सिचुएशन में सिंपल सी बात ये है कि आज की जो प्रेस में क्या बोलते प्री मैच प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस थी उसमें जब यहाँ पे क्या बोलते कि मनोलो मार्केस से क्वेश्चन पूछा गया रिगार्डिंग द बोरहा अरेनास अवेलेबिलिटी, तो ही लुक्स फ्रस्ट्रेटेड एंड उन्होंने बोला कि वो मुंबई सिटी के फोटोग्राफर से पूछा कि वो ट्रेनिंग कर रहा था कि नहीं कर रहा था. दूसरा यहाँ पे उनके जो ऑफिशियल्स है उन्होंने किसी मीडिया न्यूज चैनल को बोला कि हमने ऑफिशियल कंप्लेंट यहाँ पे रजिस्टर की है टू विद द आईएसएल ऑर्गेनाइजर्स regarding this integrity issue of sending a photographer to our training session. तो वहाँ पे सिचुएशन अभी एट द मोमेंट है. मुंबई सिटी की ओर से कोई अभी तक रिस्पॉन्स नहीं आया है, ना तो कोई आईएसएल ऑर्गेनाइजर्स की ओर से कोई रिस्पॉन्स आया है. इट्स जस्ट थिंग्स की यहाँ पे एफसी गोवा ने कंप्लेंट रजिस्टर की है और मनोलो मार्केस ने प्रेस मैच कॉन्फ्रेंस में यहाँ पे बोला है. सो दैट इज द करंट सिचुएशन. लेट्स सी आगे कैसे मूव फॉरवर्ड होता है.
I know your thoughts on the situation.
Um, on one side, for Mumbai City, it's not right to do it. You know, if someone is watching a potential training session for whatever reasons or how, yeah, that already is an issue. But if you're recording it, and I've praised Mumbai City when they handled the issues of in the winter transfer window, right? When players were misbehaving on the field, they handled it very, very well. Be it with the statement, being even getting rid of players. I think, and Shahab is asking the right question. It's unethical. I think we're talking about ethics. I'm not thinking it's a breach of regulations, right? So that is that. But I know from the past that we've had officials from other teams being there at training sessions. At least in season 1, I know that was the case. That if you are at certain training grounds in certain places, if you have the right hotel room, you can record a training session. Right? I'll tell a personal example. I saw during the World Cup, Argentina, Saudi Arabia that day. My room was towards the Salt Lake Stadium training grounds at the Hyatt. I saw East Bengal train. I thought, okay, Argentina is going to win against Saudi anyway. Let's go and watch. Let me go down and let me watch the East Bengal training from down. I'm not attached to any club, but I'm just saying that these possibilities are there if you want to. It's something, and the
एक
point.
सर एक मैं आपसे जानना चाहता था, मेरे को एक मतलब जो आईएसएल में पहले अभी लास्ट सीजन फोटोग्राफर थे, उन्होंने बोला कि ये मुंबई में एक कल्चर है कि इस तरह से फोटोग्राफर हर जगह पे होते हैं कंपेयर टू अदर। तो ऐसा है क्या सिनेरियो? उन्होंने ऐसा बोला कि this is how
Mumbai City's preparations I think are the most thorough across the league. I mean, I rarely see other coaches traveling around India and watching matches. Right? And you had it with Des, you had it with Peter Kratke as well. Peter Kratke was on Sunday watching Blasters against Goa. But still, and again, if someone is watching it and you've got something out there, that's already, unethical in a way. But recording, no, guys, that's you've gone too far. It's wrong. Sorry. That's the point, right? And that even if it's not written down in the rules and regulations, there's some etiquette that you need to follow, right? And I think that's the point, that you don't do it, and therefore, I think it would be wise from Mumbai City to say sorry for it and excuse themselves, and just try and get it out of the way that way. I think that's very, very important. The communication that happens afterwards, I think, is as important and what has now been said. And I've seen people, demanding for the head of the guy who's gone over there, this and that. Listen, the guy was just doing his duty. Most probably was sent by the club. So don't as always, don't hang the messenger, right, for this, and therefore, yeah, Mumbai City needs to say sorry, and they're done. I mean, Deepak is very interesting point with drones. I know that clubs in Europe do that. That has happened. And again, are you going to be able to, if they keep a drone, I don't know, 100, 150 meters above and they're recording stuff? It's again, my point is, try and prepare yourself as good as possible for the opponent, but don't overdo it. This is too much. This is not, this is, you again get as much information about your opponent, but don't do something which, again, it's ethically wrong, right? And that is something where you need to be, if you don't have that information, you have to work with it.
But,
right. So therefore, yeah, sorry, not well done by Mumbai City.
Yeah, I even had a follow up on that because I just wanted to know why we don't have regulations in place to tackle it, because it is something that is wrong at the end of the day, right?
Yeah, but I wouldn't know the regulations at the moment what it is, but mm, and I know that there are coaches that do it. I know from a high profile coach, not here in the Bundesliga, but from another league, who openly said, "Listen, I myself try and watch training from the
Mm,
opponents,
yeah.
especially on match day -1 at stadiums." He said that. I said, I sit somewhere in one of the boardrooms, nobody sees me, and I try and watch every opponent who comes to our ground. I watch them train match day -1, whoever comes to our ground. So I know that is unofficially. Again, we can talk about ethics, but unofficially, tons of coaches are doing it. And Marcelo Bielsa is the one who got caught at Leeds at the time, right? And the point here is. Yeah, again, and and it's yeah. Also with Roma and Torino, yeah, it's happening. I know in the Bundesliga, I don't know, Roshan, which was the club, Bundesliga or Bundesliga 2. One of the clubs also got caught with it. So it's happened across the leagues. In the past, nobody really bothered. They said, "TK, ho gaya, I'm sorry," and they continued. I think Leeds was the one where proper punishment was handed out. I think financial penalty or
Mm.
something, if I'm not wrong. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think when there was a financial penalty to it, and I think Bielsa even said afterwards, "I would do it again." Right. So there
Yeah,
was
yeah,
no
yeah.
remorse
Yeah,
in the
yeah.
whole thing. Right. So the Bielsas, the Sampaiolis, and all those sort of I say the professors, the nutty, you know, uh, uh, do that. I mean, Joel, some of these coaches do it themselves on their phones. So
Hmm.
so again, is it dumb? Is it whatever? It's unethical. Period. I think that's it. Wrong. Officially say sorry. If the league wants to, give them a fine. Get over it. Play the match tomorrow, and let's see who's better.
Uh, and move ahead.
Yeah, but
We've
it's
got
actually,
other problems. We've got other problems in
yeah.
Indian football. I think we've got other problems in Indian football, and I to some extent, I think I'm talking about this every day now. I feel is that certain coaches are trying to deflect from their own failures.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Navneet, 15 minutes are open. The first 15 minutes are open to the press, and the rest of
Hmm.
the training is actually closed. So, especially in a
Close.
place like Kolkata, if you were training in the Kolkata Maidans, there used to be hundreds of people in the stands to watch training. So in Kolkata, especially, fans are very unhappy that they're no longer allowed. I remember when Pep Guardiola came to Bayern and he said, "Listen, you twice a week, you have to do open training where the fans are there." Pep Guardiola was like, "No, I don't do open training." So they had to understand the culture of Germany and saying, "Listen, no, we have to do fan training. Don't do your secretive stuff in the fan trainings." Uh, 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 you know, but so therefore it's a cultural thing, and I don't know, maybe yeah, I think it was Roshan. I think it was Werder Bremen on TSG Hoffenheim. Yeah, with the drone. I think that was the story. So therefore, it has happened. Maybe Kratky has done it in the A League. I don't know. I've not actually researched it. Maybe he's done it with Melbourne City in some sort of form way. Yeah, but again, I say again, it's unethical. It's wrong from Mumbai City's perspective. Officially say sorry, and then let's move on.
Yeah, this is another interesting question. Is can they be fined? Because again, we don't know if there's a breach of a regulation as such. So a punishment wouldn't quite come in that case.
I don't know if it's a
Hmm.
breach of regulations. Again, it's a question of how do you define a training session, and how do you again? I would then say, how do you train at the Salt Lake Stadium ground 1 or 2? If you're staying in the rooms at the Hyatt, where you can simply put a camera down, or you can sit down in your
Hmm.
chair, sip a coffee or chai, and then watch training. I've done that. If I had a
It's
room at
actually very
the
interesting.
Hyatt, I have watched training of all possible teams, be it the national team, East Bengal, Mohun Bagan, Mohammedan. Wake up early enough in the morning, you can see them all train. But that's for me out of own interest, right? But again, clubs could do that. Maybe if you're staying at the Hyatt, maybe clubs have done it. I don't know. But that's what I'm saying is this has now come out because the guy has been caught. Right? So do we know that only Mumbai City has done it, or does every team do it in some sort of form way? Does, for example, the 15-minute footage which certain TV channels or streamers or whatever produce, is that passed on to someone in the clubs? We don't know, right?
Very, very interesting. I think it's very thought-provoking as well to even debate about whether it's wrong to do it, because again, like you said, Arnav, I mean, if you're unfortunately staying at a hotel next to the ground and you wake up and you want to just look out the window and you see the opposition train, what can you do about it? So yeah. um Anyways, let's leave it
I
at
mean,
that. And
the funny one is at the Salt Lake Stadium at the training grounds, they have put black sheets around it, or around the ground. But I mean, if you're living in the third, fourth, fifth floor of the hotel, or sixth, seventh, sorry, you can perfectly watch the training session. So therefore, I'm saying that is, it's an interesting scenario. So and it's an interesting discussion that you can have. And again, I say it's ethically wrong, and I think teams need to be sure of what they are doing, that their analyst department has enough information about your opponent that you don't need to do these kind of things. That is what I feel. You need, again, we have so much of data that is coming out left, right, and center. The matches are producing so much of data. And you will have players who have played for X team, Y team, this team, that team. You have staff who's worked for this club or that club. You should be knowing most of the information.
Yeah, Joel saying watching and recording is absolutely. I think I was just putting it out there that you could just watch, note it down on your pad, potentially record from top of the hotel. I mean, we're just throwing out ideas. That's what I'm just saying. That you can not get caught and it could still be done. So you never know. But yeah, moving on. Hiren, Turkish Women's Cup. India were defeated by Kosovo in the last minute. Yeah,
Yes,
second last minute. I
92.
think. Yeah. Yeah, you could hear the commentary from the coach, like Hiren was mentioning, even at that point. Yeah, but what did you make of the game, Hiren?
I think interesting match because I think Kosovo has dominated the game with the gameplay wise. Both the teams have created a less number of chances throughout the match. इंडिया का अगर आप देखें तो फर्स्ट हाफ में वो आई थिंक मनीषा कल्याण का वो एक फ्री किक था. सेकंड हाफ में आई वुड से एक आध वो क्रॉसेस से चांस बना था. बट अगेन आई थिंक जो हमने इससे पहले भी जो सर ने बात की थी रिगार्डिंग मनीषा कल्याण एंड अदर प्लेयर्स डिफरेंस, वो क्लियरली विजिबल था इस मैच में भी कि आप जिस तरह से उसके क्रॉसेस आ रहे थे, जिस तरह से उसकी मूवमेंट थी, दैट वाज अ लिटिल बिट बेटर कंपेयर टू अगर आप बाकी प्लेयरों की मूवमेंट या फिर उनकी टचेस या फिर उनके डिसीजन मेकिंग देखें तो उससे. सो ओवरऑल इंडिया ने अच्छा होल्ड अप कर रही थी. बट अगर ड्रॉ भी होता देन आल्सो इंडिया वुड हैव लॉस्ट बिकॉज Kosovo has a consider GD wise they are a much better position because they didn't consider a single goal. So in that sense also, but I think same चीज हुआ कि लास्ट मोमेंट पे आई थिंक प्लेयरों ने वो फोकस थोड़ा सा लूज कर दिया एंड दैट वाज ए गोल कंसिडर्ड बाय द बैक लाइन. बट एक चीज मेरे को थोड़ी सी यहाँ पे समझ में नहीं है कि व्हाई using a same starting 11 almost in the all three matches when you playing a 3 matches in 8 days. So that's little bit surprise for me. थोड़ा सा कि कोच की ओर से टेक्टिकली सभी मतलब सेम काइंड ऑफ प्लेयर यूजिंग फॉर 3 मैचेस. आई थिंक टायर्डनेस भी थोड़ा सा वो दिखा. बट कोसोवो वर मच बेटर. आप देखिए पासिंग देखिए, उनकी टचेस देखिए, गेम प्ले देखिए, दे लुक्स मोर यूरोपियन साइड एज ऑब्वियसली. एंड as sir mentioned earlier before the live is some of their most of them are playing in a very good league, so that's also a difference maker. But I think it's set to lose like that in the last minute, but very good game by the Kosovo, and lots of things maybe our girls will definitely learn from this kind of matches.
No, I think Hiren makes an important point, which is you've got 3 games in 8 days. Why don't you shuffle the pack? And even apart from that, I think it is a friendly tournament at the end of the day. So shouldn't you be trying out stuff? Shouldn't you be giving a few other players chances? Because when it eventually comes to it and you've got a couple of injuries, you're in trouble.
it's the same discussion we've been having with the men's team, right? I mean, you are
Exactly.
banking on your first 11 and then injuries hit you and then you're shocked. And I don't know if the coach did not trust the younger players or the fringe players who are sort of, who've had limited international exposure. And you saw with Kosovo, of course. I mean, the TD of Kosovo is an old friend and colleague of mine who I've worked with at the German Federation and with one of the Bundesliga clubs in the past. They've been scouting Western Europe. I was talking to a friend of mine today, and he actually said he thought Kosovo didn't play well. That's that the Kosovo fans think that the team needs to do more, and the same thing they say about the men's team as well, right? Because they are mainly German Swiss, right? So these boys and girls are well educated. You've got the girl from Frankfurt, you've got the girl from Hoffenheim, the Basel girls. So to me, for us to be able to keep it even, to have chances, have, of course, less of the ball because they are better footballers than ours. That was okay. But to concede in the 92nd is like, you had opportunities to close her down, right? You didn't do that and then allow it. That's, I think, the disappointing part. And again, Mimeti plays for Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim, one of the top teams in Germany, in the women's game as in the men's game. And it's for us, I think. It's good to see that we, besides Mansha Kalyan, and Jyoti, and Somya to some extent, of course, has come back, but we've got girls who have the potential to hopefully go to Europe because then they will get better. I think Manisha Kalyan, as Hiren said, and I said, that's the main thing, that she is much, much better as a footballer now than she was 2-3 years ago. Whatever people say about the standard in Cyprus, but she's playing a league all year through and she's getting good training all year through.
एक सर जो मिसिंग लगी वो ये थी कि जो आपने 13-14 प्लेयर यूज किए पूरे 3 मैचेस में, अगर आप देखें तो आज मतलब साइड लाइन पे भी अगर आप कमेंट्री सुनेंगे तो बार बार ही सी इज टेलिंग टू प्रेस, प्लेयर आर लिटिल बिट लुक्स टायर्ड, वो इस तरह से प्रेस नहीं कर रहे थे। और अगर वो उस तरह से प्रेस कर पाते डेफिनेटली कोसोवो भी ऐसा नहीं था कि फुल ऑन, जैसे आपने बोला कि उनकी ओर से भी इतना एक्सेप्शनल परफॉर्मेंस नहीं था। they also you can say looks little bit out of touch, तो यहाँ पे गलतियां हो सकती थी, then you can definitely had a chance, but unfortunately हमारे प्लेयर थक चुके थे, they are not covering the you can say कि spaces.
Hiren, I feel there's one problem which I felt is the coach is asking them to press. Is an Indian team in that situation after the third match in 7 days? Are they in a position to press if you're playing your first 11 again? Or again, your 13-14 players you've played? I think as a coach, you need to be realistic what you're trying to get out of these girls. And on one side, Shaggy, you'll say, yeah, it's a crazy schedule. But again, it's a for all 4 nations. This is you're having a winter camp in Turkey and you're playing 3 friendly matches, right? Which happens to be in a FIFA window, therefore, you're going to get or lose FIFA points. To me, is what were we trying to play? I was not still very clear. I don't know, Roshan, Shaggy, you are here in the conversation. You guys follow women's football very, very closely. To me, it was not very evident what was our game plan in these 270 plus minutes, right? Some say press and then wait and watch and see whatever. Again, today we played the strongest team by far in this competition, and Kosovo is not as lowly as we are. 4-4-2, and the question is 4-4-2 really our best system, right? Because the other problem is we at the moment, if you have a Bala up front, the game can be different. You could play a 4-2-3-1 or something of that sort, right? So the question is, how am I playing? How am I setting my team up? And again, yes, Manisha and Somya are the ones who they have the pace. They're supposed to sort of create the opportunities and break through the wings. I mean, that's how Manisha got the goal against Brazil. That word famous goal which enabled her to play now in Europe. But the point to me is, our defensive line, our defensive shape. You know, if Kosovo was
बट
a little
आज
bit more clinical, this could have harmed us.
नहीं, बट आज अगर आप देखेंगे जो सेगी भाई भी बोल रहे हैं कि रिगार्डिंग मनीषा एंड सौम्या, आज अगर आप सौम्या ने जितने मिनट खेले उसमें से आई डोंट थिंक सो कि उन्होंने एक भी बार उस तरह से क्या बोलते कि राइट साइड पे उस तरह से अटैक बना पाई है. सी इज ऑलवेज इन यू कैन से कि डिफेंसिव ड्यूटी रादर देन ऑफेंसिव यू कैन से कि कंट्रीब्यूशन. सो दैट्स आल्सो क्वाइट यू कैन से कि द नोटिसेबल थिंग कि आपके जो फॉरवर्ड प्लेयर है उनको भी उतना ज्यादा मनीषा को मौका मिल रहा था, एक आध दो बार उसने प्रोसेस भी अच्छा डाला, बट सौम्या की साइड से उतना ज्यादा वो क्या बोलती है ऑफेंसिवली नहीं जा रहे थे. दे आर मच मोर यू कैन से कि कवरिंग द स्पेस फॉर द क्या बोलते कि दालिमा चिवर ऑन द राइट बैक.
A left back.
Shaggy saying we need two DMs to probably help out in defense as well. So
आई थिंक
yeah,
और मिडफील्ड मेरे को भी लगता है कि जो इंडियन वुमेन्स टीम की मतलब ये इस टूर्नामेंट की बात नहीं, बट ओवरऑल भी जो हमारी जो होल्डिंग मिडफील्डर है, चाहे वो आपकी संगीता बेस्वर हो या फिर एनीवन अदर, आई थिंक दे आर यू कैन से कि नॉट एट दैट ग्रेट लेवल की जो आपको थोड़ा सा उस तरह से कंट्रीब्यूट कर पाए. अगर वहां पे आपके पास अच्छे प्लेयर आते हैं देन डेफिनेटली आपके जो विंगर्स है, आपके जो फॉरवर्ड अटैकिंग मिडफील्डर या फिर बाकी प्लेयर है और भी ज्यादा वो यहाँ पे मेरे को लगता है कि ज्यादा गेम में आएंगे. दे विल डेफिनेटली क्रिएट मोर चांसेस. But I think that is the area where I think currently the women's team is lacking.
yep. Adwa, what do you think they need to improve going forward?
I think the first thing is I think this team needs an experienced foreign coach who will give this team a little bit more structure. That's my feeling. That's what Thomas Deneby has done, and I feel this team has lost a little bit of that structure. I don't know, as per asking especially Shaggy and Roshan who are in the chat, who know, who follow quite a bit of IWL and of course also the national team. I feel that, we need to play. We need to play teams like Kosovo, on a regular basis. I think that's important because this is a level you will not get it in South Asia. You will rarely get it in Asia. Actually, this is good. This is good level football. Even Estonia, even though Estonia wasn't that good, but physically that was a good game. And for India, I hope they understood that if that match lasted 5 minutes longer, Estonia surely would have equalized. Because we were, towards the end we had a problem. The physical aspect to me is something. Height is an aspect. I think, no disrespect to certain players who are in the team, but if you want to be successful, and the same thing applies in the men's game as well. You have to have a certain, if you are short, you have to have that physicality to you to be able to sustain, or you are, you have to pick taller players. Terrible example, I always say, but the best example to me, always Lionel Messi, right? He's short, but Lionel Messi physically is strong, and Lionel Messi technically is so good that no one will catch him. And an Indian example, very good example to that is I think Chanke, who has physically and also from being able to navigate himself via players is much better than he was, let's say 3, 4, 5 years ago. So therefore, and I hope they learn from this. Yes, Shaggy, exactly. It's a good outing. To me, it's a very, very good outing for the boys. For the girls, sorry. That's what I'm saying, that this kind of level, that's what I'm saying, even the Asian Cup, as bad as it was for the men, if you're playing against better teams, it's always good. Yeah. And I think there was the third participation from India. So in that way, it is good, because you've got 2 weeks to train and you've got 3 good matches to play. Right. So therefore, in all that the AFF is doing wrong at the moment, this one, again, in the women's game, certain things we have to say, the AFF has done a number of things right. Be the IWL, turning it into a proper league. Congratulations to that. Now giving the women an exposure. So therefore, I hope they give the women exposure in the next window in the summer. And, so let's hope they do the right things and continue to do the right things.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, ISL game tomorrow, of course. We spoke about a little earlier Mumbai, Goa. Hiren, from a football perspective, let's talk about that now. Leave the Spygate thing behind. On the field, what are you expecting to see?
Huge game in the sealed race, to be honest, because FC Goa coming up with the three back-to-back losses, so they are down and out, and Mumbai City coming up with a great momentum with the some of the crucial wins. So it's going to be interesting match, and always FC Goa versus Mumbai City always in ISL is an interesting game because both the team I would say a little bit similar in terms of the attacking football wise. I would not say totally similar, but I think they both like to play that kind of football. So in that sense, I think it will be a great game. And Mumbai City, I think some of the Indians are in a good form. Foreigners are looking good, particularly Thiri. I think Ikar Guruskena. Other than that, I think Koroma is everyone is looking good. FC Goa के लिए I think definitely the concern is still the front line. I think they need to fire a little bit more. बैक लाइन में भी इश्यू है. I think निम दोरजी जरूर वहां पे है. ओडे वनादिया के साथ but I think थोड़ा सा उसको भी सेटल डाउन होने में टाइम. So overall, I'm expecting a very competitive match. To be honest, I think it will be a toe-to-toe fight. But I would say Mumbai playing at their home, so I will give a little bit advantage to Mumbai City. I think in a favor of 55 to 45 in a Mumbai City's favor.
Interesting. Anava Sharad's hoping for a draw, and if it is a draw, those around them like Simon Bagan, Odisha will definitely benefit. So yeah, no. What do you think will happen on the pitch?
I mean, it's been spiced up a little right now.
Yeah, it has. It has.
But to me, very, very, very clearly, after the last few weeks, surely Mumbai City are the favourites. You know, and you realize Manolo, with all the experience he has, I felt he is he's trying to find solutions to the problems that FC Goa have, and he's not finding them. I think that's the coaches who are in that situation. You saw that also with Ivan Vukovanovic, right? In the first half against Goa, he was sitting there, and he looked lost. But somehow or the other, he said something at halftime, which turned the things around. So Manolo needs that kind of a moment that his team can sort of turn things around and they can get something. But I still think that Mumbai City are in a certain level of a groove, I think. And I think Mumbai City is a dangerous team to play at the moment. I think they've got it. It's interesting to see which wingers start tomorrow, because I think Bipin now deserves a start.
Yeah, no.
So I think Bipin deserves a start after that cameo in the last game.
Mm-hmm.
Vikram still deserves a start as well. Does it mean that Changte maybe has to sit out? It's an interesting thing for Peter Kratky to look at. And otherwise, Mumbai City looks a settled squad. But what Peter Kratky has done is he's played around, with the lineup, and he's not really used the first 11. Sort of, he's played around. And you saw Manolo also in Kochi changing things, bringing Rowling Borges back, playing Noah Sadui as a false number 9. It worked for 45 minutes, but it didn't work for the second 45. And Goa were all over. Does he make a goalkeeper change? That's another interesting one. Does Ashdeep play or does Dheeraj get a chance?
Yeah.
There's a lot of interesting questions that can be asked about what is FC Goa going to do. Does Neem Dorji start or does he put Neem Dorji on the bench? And maybe put Narayan back as a centre back, or does he maybe even, if as he's been saying that Jay Gupta is a centre back, does he try Jay Gupta as a centre back and maybe start Narayan as a left back, which is his natural position? So Manolo has a lot of things to think about, play around with his team, with the potential of doing this or that. It's a very interesting scenario, and therefore. For Goa, it's about trying to stay in the race, while for Mumbai City, it's about wanting to go to the top. So therefore, it's an interesting scenario.
And can you give us a scoreline as well?
think it's going to be a bad day for Goa. I think it's going to be a 3-0 for Mumbai.
Okay. Hiren?
I'm expecting a 1-0 victory.
Okay. It's
And
going to be interesting.
Ecom Loan 98 says something which I forgot. Carl McHugh, 4
McHugh
cards
would-
out, and Borja seems to be out. Is another one that that those two are missing.
Yeah.
Interesting to see how he sort of shuffles, because McHugh is one of those underrated guys in the ISL. Right? He was crucial for Mohun Bagan winning the title last season. But even he committed a mistake with his handball in the Kerala game. Right? And
I think उसकी जगह पे तो आई थिंक रेत्रे को स्टार्ट कराएंगे वो, अगर काल मैक्यू नहीं है, सो मिडफील्ड में रेत्रे विल स्टार्ट.
but is Retre for me is a more of a creative player, no?
Yeah. Pereira Diaz
I
also
think
back.
they have to go with the 3 foreigners. Carlos Martinez, Noah Sadoy, and Odewaraji.
No, you could play Retre, but put Retre, maybe play Noah on the wing, Retre as a 10, Martinez. I don't know. That would be the thing, right? It's a very... And also, Uday made also some mistakes against the Blast. I mean, he's been doing some mistakes suddenly, right? So that's the worrying part for Manolo is that he had the best defense of the ISL in the first part of the season, right? The Blasters were always changing their players. So, but, the Blasters were also shutting shop. But Goa had a set back 4. You realize Uday is making mistakes. Jay Gupta, welcome to Indian football. Your honeymoon period is over. So for him, it's also now about grinding out results. And people also have understood how he plays. So that makes it difficult for him. Sheraton is okay. Is not as outstanding as I would have thought in the first half. And of course, Sandesh missing. Right? So yeah, that and of course you have not been able to replace Victor Rodriguez. And that's going to be an interesting one, because I thought Borja played a very, very good first 45, but that ankle did not look good. It looked I have not heard anything. I don't know if you guys have heard anything. If it's a ligament tear, I think it was a tear. It looked more like a tear because he couldn't step properly. And that's another loss. So yeah, and again, when a team is unsettled and you then get injuries and cards, which is going to happen towards the end of the season, that's the thing.
Yep. Hiren, anything about any news on Brandon? You guys asking?
ब्रेंडन लास्ट मैच में तो अनअवेलेबल थे, आई थिंक उसी दिन उसको कुछ यहाँ पे वो हुआ था, बट इस मैच में आई डोंट थिंक सो कि कुछ मैंने मतलब अभी तक वो पूरा उनका न्यूज़ देखा है कि इज अवेलेबल और नॉट. मे बी आई थिंक
he is available. He's
He should be
available.
available. Yep. So it's going to be interesting because Arnava is going for a 3-0, which is quite comprehensive in favor of Mumbai City, and Hiren saying 1-0, which is just edging the home side. It'll be fun.
I hope I'm as right as I was today with my 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's the charm, right? Sometimes you're right and sometimes you're wrong. Right? So with your predictions, and again tomorrow with this whole whole Spygate now also cropping up, I'm sure the Mumbai City fans will have some jokes ready for Goa as well on that front. But yeah, it's again in the title race, it's a very crucial thing, and calmly, quietly, Mumbai and Mohun Bagan have moved up the table, so it's going to be interesting. And again, Mehtab is being mentioned. Sharhad, I might think maybe Valpuya gets another start. Maybe Rahul Beke as a centre back and Valpuya on the right might be an option. And of course, Akash Mishra slowly but clearly settling down at Mumbai City. That's that's an added bonus for the team. The other day in Chennai, the way he saves that goal off the line for his beaten keeper, that's good. And Akash Mishra can play at that. That's the point which I felt at the Asian Cup, that Akash Mishra is one of our players who can play at a higher level, right? And if he doesn't, I am at least disappointed from a player like that.
Yeah. Fair enough. Going to be fun. I hope there's a lot of goals. Let's make it entertaining because I know Goa's involved. Of course, Mumbai like to play with the ball. It should be entertaining. We should see a few goals. And yeah, we'll be back to discuss that. Thanks everyone for joining in. And yeah, please like and share the videos. Subscribe to all the channels: Post Kabri, Kirsari, and Arun Foot. We'll be back tomorrow. Good night.
Good night. And just
Good
one
night,
last
guys.
info, as people were asking about the Santosh Trophy. I've done a small video, 5-minute video on my channel if you want to watch it on the Santosh Trophy. What I think, how I see the future of the Santosh Trophy. If you want to watch it, enjoy it, and then we'll talk about it amongst us also in the coming days in regard to where does the Santosh Trophy stand in Indian football.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night, guys.